Thank y'all for tuning in to the No Rules podcast. We back, y'all. We back. It's been a couple years, man. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without this dope pod to step to, man. And we appreciate any and everyone who has ever listened to our podcast, going all the way back to, I think it was like 2016, 2015 or something like that. But a little inside baseball, like me and him, we've been through a lot of stuff.
It's been a lot of things happened in the last 5 years, brother.
There's been a lot of shit going down in the times that we've been going. So it definitely is lovely to be back. And just long story short, we're so fucking happy to be back and so grateful to have anybody listening to us. We're gonna try and give it to you guys as regular and as on schedule as possible. Try and do once a week with special episodes sprinkled in here and there if there's something to talk about. So without further ado, Malik, let's just jump right into it, man. Is the NBA, I think something big happened like over the last 24, 48 hours. I'm not.
There were some rumblings that there may have been a move,
a trade or something.
I believe they call it a blockbuster. Is that what they call it in the business?
Not where you used to get your videos back in the
no
late 90s and things like that. Be Kind Rewind. Shout out to the old heads. I guess now we old heads.
We are the old heads.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Motherfuckers don't know what it was like having a separate rewind machine. Like how big of a like that shit was. Shout out my aunt Sarah, rest in peace. She had the rewind machine, so you didn't have to take up the VCR to rewind the tapes.
Next level.
She was like, yeah. But so the Dallas Mavericks done lost a rabbit ass mind and traded generational talent in his prime. Not even really technically in his prime. If we go by prime, it's probably like late 20s to early 30s. He's only 25. Luka Doncic. I think he's like 5-time first team All-NBA, multiple time All-Star. Made 2 Western Conference Finals, made 1 NBA Finals this past year against the Celtics super team. And how did they reward him with that? Well, less than a full year later, they trade him to the LA Lakers, who somehow have found another way to reinvent themselves with another generational stuff. Like, I don't know how they keep doing it. I mean, you tell me, because I don't understand trading a guy like Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers within conference. That just seems dumb to me.
Well, first, let me just say this, and I'll ask you, I'll say what my initial seeing it happen. I'm shout out to my beautiful wife, Shannon. We were out, as parents, it's hard to get out. So we were out, we were like, oh yeah, we're having a good time, just chilling. Come back home. It's maybe after, like a little after midnight. I look at my phone and I see an ESPN notification and it says the Lakers are trading Anthony Davis to the Mavericks for Luka Doncic. And I'm like, this is not, I was like, that doesn't even, like my brain couldn't even compute the trade, because these types of trades absolutely never happen, right? Never. Like never. Like you just never trade a star for a star. Most of the time, if you're trading a star, you're getting back a ton of picks, maybe you get like a good young player, right? Like maybe get a good young player, but you never see like a dude who's a potential MVP and a guy who's, maybe potential defensive player of the year get traded for each other. So I'm just sitting there like, what? just confused. I had to flip on ESPN, flip on SportsCenter, because I'm like, there's no way that this is actually true. I'm like, this must be a joke notification. Like somebody's going to get fired because they sent out a joke notification, but it was actually happening. So there was probably really, even up to this point, right? Like it's maybe 24 or 36 hours later, I'm still kind of stunned. Like I'm still trying to figure out like what happened. Yeah, man, apparently the Mavericks just said, hey, we had enough. We actually want to go with this guy, Anthony Davis, who obviously is great, won a championship, but I don't think anyone would say that he's on the level of Luka, right? Like Luka seems like the type of guy that can completely change your franchise. Now, in fairness, yes, he's made the finals. He's made the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. But every year, I feel like the Mavericks fans, the media, they're like, hey, like the Mavericks seem like they're kind of underachieving. And then they go on a run in the playoffs because Luka's just amazing. And he'll hit like 10-game winners. And it's just like, oh yeah, like this dude is insane. But they only win like 40 games a year, right? So it seems like that was the catalyst for this sort of trade was that the Mavericks were just like, look, yeah, he's going to get us almost there, but he's not going to get us all the way there. So why don't we just trade our chips in now?
But don't forget, they also got Max Christie, so that kind of tips the scales a little bit.
Well, now that just changed the game. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Shout out to Max Christie, who I like. I really do like Max Christie, but yeah.
He's on the all-hair team in the NBA for sure.
Gray hair. Terrible mustache, gray hair.
Yeah, agreed. To give the proper credit, where is due, Nico Harrison is the Mavericks GM, the quote-unquote mastermind behind this deal. Black man, shout out to the black man.
Shout out to the black man doing his thing. Yeah.
It really pains me to have to call a black man a dumbass in this situation. And I do, like, it's hard to say that and then be like, with all due respect, I kind of feel like Ricky Bobby, but like, I really do mean with all due, but like, it's said out of love. We do that all the time in the group chats. Obviously he does not know me, so he'd probably slap me in the face if you saw me in person after calling me that. But like, the reality of it is, you're a dumbass. Like, that's just what history will show. The two things he is most famous for. I don't know if you've read this in the articles leading up. I actually didn't know this until this morning. Nico Harrison is the Nike executive who actually ruined the Steph Curry pitch back when Steph Curry was first becoming Steph. Steph Curry, the first championship that he won, Steph Curry was on like a prove it deal. You know what I mean? Like it was Steph Curry was not the guy that we know and love now, as the Derek Jeter of basketball. But like at this point, he was still kind of up and coming. He was signed to Nike, as most lottery picks are or aspire to be. And he had the pitch that was basically a repurposed Excel spreadsheet or PowerPoint document that was meant for Kevin Durant, but that was tailored to Kevin Durant. Spelled his name wrong, Stefan, with an O instead of Stephen with an E as it's actually spelled, which just seems like, that's like when you get an email from somebody, and you reply, and then they reply back, and then they spell your name wrong, even though your name's in your email. That level.
It's at the bottom, fam, but cool.
You're doing this for the number 9 pick in the 2009 draft. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy that's a franchise pillar, and you're doing this. Whose father, by the way, played in the league. So you had 2 chances to get it right because they have the same name. But anyways, spelled his name wrong in the PowerPoint. Called him Seth, which is his brother's name, who was even lesser known than he was. So if you're gonna get one name right, it would probably should be Steph and not Seth, but that's another thing. Got the name wrong, was a pitch meant for a completely different player and a completely different team, and then just called him the wrong name. And that is why Stephen Curry is actually with Under Armour now, as opposed to with Nike, where he started. That is the guy that has decided to now hitch his wagon to this trade. No matter what, for better or for worse, he will be known as the guy that traded Luka Doncic. It does not matter what he achieves from here on out. Does not matter. To have that compounded with the Steph Curry Nike pitch thing is just a dubious history for this man. Again, it just pains me that it's a black man. I was really kind of hoping that it was a white dude, but the fact remains, just like I don't know if I want to be that guy that's like, if I already have the Nike thing looming over my head,
you're gonna be cautious.
Yeah, like this is probably not the deal that I do. So all the good fortune and good value that they got in the trade with Atlanta, winning that trade, is like now wiped away because you've now made this trade with the Lakers. It's gone.
I mean, it's a nuts on the table move, right? Like, and to put this into context, like, it's not like Nico Harrison made this move without anyone else knowing. Like, clearly,
they said January 7th was when they started the contract.
The rest of the Mavericks organization, ownership, like, they all had to sign off on this for it to happen. Now, obviously, if it goes wrong, they're all going to point their fingers at him. But like, he didn't make this decision in a vacuum. At the same time, it's 100% a nuts on the table move, because you're trading a guy who's 25 years old, who's made first team All NBA, not like second, third, like first team All NBA, which means he is the best player at his position every season, and he's only 25 years old. He's done that 5 times. Yeah. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. He's taking you to the NBA Finals.
More first team All NBAs, by the way, than Stephen/Seth Curry.
Right, which is just crazy, right? So, I mean, I've seen Luka play in person. I saw him at Game 2 of the NBA Finals this year, and the dude is Shout out to the NBA media.
No doubt.
But yeah, man, like the dude, he's like that. Like he is absolutely like that. Now he looked a little slow, but he was still scoring. Like you couldn't stop him from scoring. But he is he is one of those guys where like you watch him and you look at him and you kind of underestimate him, and then you look up and it's like, oh, he's got 35 points and
He's
10
got
assists.
that Paul Pierce YMCA build, which is another rumor as to why he was ended up getting shopped and traded. Because they said that he was extremely unlikable. They said that his work ethic was in the pits.
Can we talk about that? Can we please talk about this?
Oh, with the work ethic thing?
No, all of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm in love with you. Like I want to go all the way, and then it doesn't work. It's like, man, fuck that bitch. I never liked that. It's like, whoa.
You
She
know
was overweight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like terrible.
We're not talking about like post-retirement Kendrick Perkins here. We're talking about like, a guy that literally, well, yes, if you look at rookie Luka versus the Luka that was in the finals last year, it's looked like Luka ate Luka for sure. Absolutely needs to be in better shape. And for a guy that's 25, you have to be doing so much bad eating and have such poor health habits to be 25 and a professional NBA player who has the usage that he has and still have the body type that he has. Like absolutely 100%. Because when I was 25 and I was just playing pickup basketball at ESPN's gym, I had a six pack. So like, there's no way for him to be an NBA player and be 25 and be built like that. Like genetics don't do that to you, brother. Like it doesn't. And I've seen your mom. So like, honestly, even genetics is not an excuse here. So I get that. But to then shift the blame, he's also a 25-year-old kid. So like what 25-year-old kid who's handed the world, who's handed the keys to an organization, who's in a state like Texas, where they always say everything's bigger in Texas. You can get, barbecue put on fucking everything there. Even the salad comes with barbecue sauce out in Texas.
Say, you get a deep fried salad out there.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's not like you're setting it. That honestly is more of an indictment on you as an organization, and your inability to make sure that your superstar is in the best possible situation or has the right people around him to make sure that he's making the right decisions. If it gets to the point where you feel the need to trade him at 25 years old, not at like 30, not even at 28, 29, where it's kind of like, okay, we've done this whole song and dance. Was like, it's just now starting to catch on. He's just now starting to get the team around him that is built the way it's needed to be built. The last 2 years, a lot of playoff success. It seemed to be going in the right direction from a playoff success standpoint. And this is the time when you make that trade for Anthony Davis. It just seems like they were unable and incapable, or maybe unwilling, to do the things that they needed to do to make sure that their young superstar was in peak physical condition, that understood his role as the leader of that team, and then he showed up to work.
It's interesting because I don't put that on the organization as much as I put it on the player, right?
Right.
To me, and this is a mindset, and I think we could talk about the fact that he's going to the Lakers.
Right.
He's going to be paired up with a guy who
never had
LeBron James, who from the time he stepped into the NBA, even before he got to the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's just been dead set on, I'm going to be the best player who ever played this game. And he came one person short. I love LeBron James.
You're not
one of the biggest LeBron James fans. He's not better than MJ.
And that's okay, people. You don't have to kill us. It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Right. But for 22 years, like this guy's been the best player on the floor. Like at age 21, he was the best player on the floor, but basically anytime he's playing anybody other than Kobe. And at age 40, like at the Garden on Saturday night, he's the best player on the floor, right? So you look at Luka and it's like, dude, you could do that when you're out of shape and you're hurt. If you just stayed in shape, like it's right there. To me, like the team wants him to do it. I think the team, I should say, they wanted him to do it because they traded him, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a different situation compared to a guy like someone who is also pretty young and pretty talented, Zion Williamson, who is clearly just does not care at all, right? Like he's just like on another level. Like Luka's not at that point, but it seems like the Mavericks were just like, yo, he's this is as good as he's gonna be. So like let's just ship him for somebody who can give us, I don't know, 80% in terms of production, not necessarily in the same spot, but like this guy is going to give us better defense. You know, he can score, he can give you 30 a night. It's a huge gamble, and I'd be stunned if the Mavericks ended up being better off in this position. But it's a nuts on the table move, like I said, by Nico Harrison to say, like, I'm just gonna sell high. I can't even say they
No,
sold high because
no,
they only got they only got Max Christie in a first round pick
no.
and AD, which is insane.
By the way, they gave back a pick. Like in that trade,
2 seconds.
Luka Doncic, please believe that's all you're getting. You're not getting any picks. You're not getting any future, nothing. Like that doesn't, I'm giving you your future. That's what you get. And for a guy like Rudy Gobert to fetch 5 first-round picks for any number, yeah, like any Mikal Bridges, yes, any number of superstars that have been traded, and he's not the first superstar that's ever been traded. You know, Carmelo Anthony came for multiple first-round picks when he went to your Knicks, and great players actually at the time. You know, Danilo Gallinari and all those guys were actually very, very good players. Get the player that you want, and then not also get picks, because it's important to understand that Anthony Davis is on the other side of 30, either just turned 30 or he's in his early 30s. He has a long history of injuries. And the only time that he's ever been a part of winning organization is by playing Robin to LeBron's Batman in the bubble. Now, he was the best player on that run for sure, but nobody would confuse him as leader of that team over LeBron James. He was not the number one engine. He was enabled. He had the battery put in his back by the second best player of all time in LeBron James. And that is what gave him the confidence to go on that run. And you obviously have to have the talent to do that. And maybe he will take the next step here in Dallas with Kyrie and become that again. But that is a hell of a gamble to have to take, all because this one player is fat. Now, you are 100% right. Ultimately, it falls upon the athlete to be in shape. But what I will say is that the condition, this is coming as a Sixers fan. So like, this is coming as somebody that understands what culture does to a player. When you bring people in, and nowadays the NBA players that are coming in are not, like when Magic Johnson came into the league, he was in his 20s, you know? So like there's, when people were coming into the league, Michael Jordan was like 21, 22 years old. Like they were at least able to buy their own drink. Nowadays, Luka came in when he was 18. You know, Zion came in when he was 19. Cooper Flag, when he comes in, is going to be just barely 18 years old. You know, he just turned 18 a month ago. So like these kids are younger and younger and younger when they come into the league. Great habits are built. They are not inherent within you. Your habits are created. So when you bring people in, that is why people want good veterans on the team. That's why you want a strong and smart coaching staff. When you enable, when you allow someone to run roughshod over your organization, to come in late to meetings, to not play because they don't feel like it, or they went on a bender the night before and they're a little hungover and shit like that. Those create bad habits. Those create narratives in your head that this is my show. I run this show. I'm bigger than the organization. So whatever I want to do, go. So when he goes to the Lakers, I guarantee you LeBron ain't playing that shit. He's not coming in, you know, out of shape. He's not coming in overweight. He's not coming in thinking, hey, this is my show. I run this team. He's coming into an organization that has history, that's got banners, that's got names in the rafters. And if he wants that 77 anywhere up there in purple and gold, or if he wants to opt out and get a contract somewhere else and wants to prove it, it would behoove him while playing with a guy the caliber of LeBron James, who at 40 is probably in the best shape of anyone in this league, which is just fucking ridiculous.
Insane.
Behoove him to pull some of those things from great players. So that is the onus is going to be on Luka from here on in LA to make this a bad trade for Nico. And I think he has just enough fuck you in him to make that possible. But I don't want us to absolve the Mavericks organization of their culpability in this, because I think organizations are ultimately responsible for building the culture around the people that they draft and around the superstars. It's up to them to recognize, oh, this guy is going to be our future. This guy is going to be the future of the franchise. We need him to be a good person and to give a fuck. And if he doesn't give a fuck and he's drinking beers after you make it to the finals and you have to have Michael fucking Finley come and grab the beer out of his hands because you're already overweight, bro, why are you drinking a beer and we didn't win shit? Then that's a problem with the organization and not necessarily with the 24-year-old kid.
Right now, who do you think has a better chance of winning the championship between the two teams?
The Mavericks. The Mavericks.
So if they win a championship, would you say that they won the trade?
No, because this is a future trade. This is a legacy trade. This is not a So the Anthony Davis trade, right? That was a trade for a chip. Going to football, the Matthew Stafford trade. You could say whatever you want about, oh, look at all the things that the Lions got from that trade. Well, they didn't get a ring. And even if they did get a ring, the Rams got a ring literally that year. They got what they wanted. So yeah, the Mavericks like, oh, we want a ring out of this whole thing. And maybe they do win a ring. Probably not. I don't think so. Personally, they're not good enough to beat the Celtics as they are right now. So that's not going to happen. But honestly, at full strength, I don't even know if they're good enough to beat Oklahoma City, to be quite honest, because they're too dependent on Anthony Davis's health, which is iffy at best, and then Kyrie's mental stability, which is also iffy at best. So,
Kyrie's he's been better. He's
been
way better. He's been way better.
He really has, and you can never question anything about Kyrie's ability on the floor. So that's why I didn't bring that up. But there is always, right when you think it's at its best, and I'm sure there are some Nets fans that can attest to this. 1 week it's great, and you apologize for saying some anti-Semitic things and this, that, and the third, and then the next week you're demanding a trade. That's just the way that goes with Kyrie Irving. You never know from 1 week to the next what you're going to get. But best case scenario for them, Anthony Davis plays 80% of the games for the rest of the season, has a healthy postseason run, is a 20-15 guy. Kyrie Irving, leading scorer of the team. They get what they wanted out of the role players, play some good defense. But again, they're not the best team in the West after this deal. They are better set up than the Lakers to win a championship, but they're not the best team in the West after this deal. And that is the kind of deal that you would need to do, to me, to validate trading probably one of the top 3 players, at least in the Western Conference, if not in the NBA. That is a trade that changes a franchise. That's not a trade that you just make because you want to go chasing after a ring.
From the future standpoint, yeah. I mean, obviously, because he's younger than the guy you traded for, it basically says you have to win within the next 2 to 3 years, or this total waste. And I don't think that they are I would never say that they're the best team in the West. Oklahoma City clearly is way better. But if they were to somehow win the championship, even make it to the finals, I would say even if you just made it to the finals again, because we got to remember they are the reigning Western Conference champions, right? So the Mavericks are not in terms of their stature in the league, they're not the Lakers or the Celtics, or they're not a free agent destination. They lucked into Luka because another team is just dumb. And Trae Young is great. I like Trae Young, but obviously Luka is the better player. So they lucked it. Well, actually, it was 2 teams because Sacramento Kings. But yeah, to me, it's I think if them winning a championship is different for their franchise, because they only have one, and the one that they had, they got, I don't want to call it a fluke, but no one expected them to win the one that they got with Dirk, right? And you could say, oh, well, they should have won the one in 06, but the refs and Dwayne Wade got too many free throws, whatever.
God don't make
this is this is not a team. Yeah, this is not a team that is competing for a championship. They've always been competitive, but they're not they are not the type of team that are going to have the best player on the floor all the time. And when they did have the best player on the floor, in theory, because I still think Jason Tatum was better in the finals, but Luka's stature in the league, best player on the floor, they still couldn't win it. I mean, they got beaten 5 games. So I could see a scenario in which, they luck into a championship, or they get the right matchup, win a championship, and everyone looks back and be like, hey, I guess as long as it kind of Mavs fans are not going to be crying oh, but it should have been Luka. They'd be like, screw it, we won a championship.
I mean, winning definitely absolves almost all guilt, especially in terms of Nico Harrison's legacy, personally. But at the end of the day, championships are won every single year. Hall of Fame players are once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? So when you have an opportunity to say, look, we drafted, or we saw the talent in this Hall of Fame player, and the only jersey he's ever worn is the Mavericks 77. And that means something. For Dirk to have only worn the 41 for Dallas means something. And it says something to the rest of the league when you're not always about hey, this transactional thing, it means us winning this one championship means more than potentially having one of the greatest players of all time only be wearing the Mavericks blue. When you're trading a guy like that, just winning a championship, yeah, it might make Nico feel a little bit better, a little I told you so, but at the end of the day, no, because Luka is a Hall of Fame player. He is on a Hall of Fame track.
Yeah.
Now he could rupture his Achilles, God forbid, and then that whole thing kind of gets blown up. But even then, you can't account for injury. If he continues on the track that he has been on for his first 5-6 years in the league, then it doesn't matter how many championships you won, because you're losing the respect of a fan base. You're losing the love of a fan base, because championship teams come and go. I'm sure there are some diehard Mavericks fans who can't even name the starting five of that championship team for Dallas, and that's just the reality of the deal. But they know Dirk was on that team because Dirk is their guy. And it means more to win with your guy, I think, than to trade for Anthony Davis and for your GM to kind of do a victory lap and be like, I told you so. We won a It's like, great, awesome. We don't want to burden you at the stake anymore. But like at the same time, we had a generational talent in Luka Doncic, and we had an opportunity to keep him here. We had an opportunity to make him understand that he means more to this franchise when he actually puts forth the effort. And we fell short.
It's a good point. Trade done now. So
it's done. I mean, it's over. You can't.
So like
the way you ain't that fat. The
way it's shaping up, man, it's like championship.
The weigh-in is over, and he's good. 270 and all. I'll take it.
I'll say one more thing on the Luka front, because now he's on the Lakers. I kind of like the Lakers. Like, I don't want to play that team. That team looks pretty freaking good. Like, you got LeBron and Luka on the same team. Like, dude.
Imagine a pissed off and in shape Luka on a run with LeBron James, where now LeBron has Luka and Austin Reeves, to handle the ball when he needs to, and he can rest on possessions, things like that. It's scary hours, especially when you consider the buyout market. You can replace a big in the buyout market. You're not going to find another Anthony Davis, but you can find another big that can get you 15 rebounds a game. Welcome back to the No Rules Podcast. Aaron Hilton here with my main man, Malik Smith, man. Malik, we just got done talking about the Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison and that move. But like we said, it's been a while. 2020 was the last time we recorded. It's been over 5 years since then. Let's catch the people up with some things going on in our lives, man. What's been going on with you, man? What you been up to the last 5 years?
5 years. I got married, which was awesome.
Wedding bells.
Yeah. Well, actually, if I actually go in order, I got engaged because that was 2021, which was dope. We got married in 2023, and then we had our little miracle baby, a little surprise baby. Shout out to my son Coleman, in 2024. It's been a lot, man. It's been a lot of adulting, a lot of growing, a lot of just a lot of working, to be honest. Spent a lot of that time working, and now I'm currently just fun employed, which is an interesting space to be in. I've had a chance to just be stay-at-home dad, which is kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's a lot of naps. He's only 7 months old, so he's still taking a lot of naps. He's eating right now, which is crazy. And I don't know. I mean, I'll let you get into your situation, but as a parent, as a dad specifically, you realize, like, man, like, you don't know how it happens, but eventually all my pictures are just pictures of my kid, and the only things I talk about are like parent things. And I'm like, yo, who is this person? Like, I'll be looking at myself in the mirror like, yo, who are you, dog? Like, you used to be cool.
My Explore page used to be filth, my nigga. Like, it used to be like BT Uncut. And there's
booty
still
cheeks.
There's still
nothing but booty cheeks.
Shout out to my fiance Jasmine. She know who she's engaged. But like, it is now like, also like, while there are still some BBLs in there, it is sprinkled with a lot of like dad quotes and dad joke stuff, cooking recipes and shit like that for times when I'm at home and I want to get adventurous with the cooking. Not that the baby eats anything, but currently she's on a banana kick. As we'll soon find out, your son right now is eating, and he's probably just excited to be eating solid foods. This is a money time. They still have likes and dislikes, but he's just so excited to not exclusively be drinking milk that he will probably try and eat everything. Once they get closer to the toddler phase of the eating, it starts to get real. The scope narrows, and that's what we're dealing with now. Coming home and, you want to have this food that you loved 2 months ago? No, cup. Like, that's how she says she want like juice or milk as a cup. I'm like, all right, and not even please. All it is just a belly rub. I feel like she says it's easier to just rub your belly and just say please. So it's like,
Yeah.
yo, how do you ask nicely? You should just rub your belly, please. And I'm like, yo, if that wasn't the cutest thing on earth, like I would hold out on this food for you.
We be beefing.
You know what I'm saying? This is kind of like my job. I guess I'll feed you this time. But I mean, it's been crazy for me as well. You know, as you know, like even towards the end of our recording before 2020, I went through my unemployed stage, which was uh, just an experience altogether, and going through unemployment and a move and just a whole a pivot in terms of mentality and everything from what you thought you knew about yourself to moving down to Georgia with anything. So obviously for you and the things that you're going through, that like I intimately understand the things that you are going through, because I went through that, and it's not as fun as the moniker might say, but it is also to be able to do that as a dad, because I did get to take that month and a half off when Aria was first born. There's nothing like it. I new to the engagement scene. I got engaged just this past year. It hasn't even been a year since we've been engaged yet.
Big congrats to you, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. She was dumb enough to say yes, so she trapped now. So shout out to that. You know, so you know, my lovely fiance was probably picking on my daughter as we speak. You know, she's been the rock of the family. I kind of overcorrected once I got back employed. Every year I've added new stuff, overtime elite. So it's been really, really rewarding to be able to go from not knowing where my next check will come from to like not knowing which job I'm going to go to. But the other end of that, as a dad, is like you miss stuff and
Yeah.
you randomly just get emotional about shit that you was not getting emotional about before. I had to leave early for my day job and then go cover a Hawks game at nighttime. And it's like by the time I get home, she's already been in the bath and snoring in bed. And I'm like, all I got was a 30-minute FaceTime before tip off, So that part has been a little bit more of an adjustment. And I'm trying to do that work-life balance so that it's not so much as falling on Jasmine's shoulders. So for my little 10 cent of advice to you is, when you do get back, and I know someone as talented as you is going to be back with a vengeance when it comes to getting whatever it is that God has in store for you next. Just don't lose the perspective. Don't lose sight of the things that has made you the great husband and great father that you've been over the last 7 months and beyond. And that's going to make you even better as you grow. The most important thing is that the baby knows who you are, and as he grows into a young man, you want him to see his dad and experience his pops and what makes you so great, and not just be like, yeah, I never wanted for anything, but I also didn't have him in my basketball games, or he wasn't always there. It was like, when it's time, when she start doing cheerleading events and all that shit, I got no problem. You know what I mean? I'm canceling all, and freelance checks is nice. I will cancel freelance event in a minute to go wave my pom poms for my baby girl. Hopefully, once Jasmine starts working in the hospital, she could be my sugar mama, and I could just, chill out.
That's really the goal in life, right?
That's
It's
the goal,
like,
man.
be stay at home husband. I mean,
I'm
come
trying to
on.
be, yeah, I'm the
We got to
prize.
reverse. We got to reverse the trend.
We're the prize. That's what it is. That's the thing.
Come on, King. Speak on it, King.
You know what I'm saying? This is the real podcast, boys. We're the prize. We want to sit with our feet up too. Be spoiled this shit.
It's really, and I appreciate the words, man. Seriously, because one thing I will say that I found super interesting, like even leading up to, but like definitely after the baby is born, it's like, man, there's not a lot of dad focused stuff. Again, there's a ton of it now. You go on Instagram, it's like mad dad focused content, but even still, not a lot of it is catered to dads.
Motivational quotes that like Jasmine will send me on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, just know that I see you and I appreciate all that you're doing as a dad and all that stuff. It's like, I mean, it does lift me up. It gets, it gets me going. It gets me riled up. But yeah, like you said, it's not a whole lot of like dad content. But like, this is how, when you're a dad and you're trying to balance it, like we don't get a whole lot of that, especially as black.
No. Especially being here for the moments, watching him crawl. It's funny you talked about eating, because I don't know that I would say that he's excited to eat so much as if he could beat me up for the food, that he would. Like literally screaming at me. It's like he can't say words yet, but I know what he's screaming is, "Scoop faster, idiot!" Right. So yeah, I mean it's been interesting, man. But yeah. Shout out to all the dads, man. Shout out to the dads holding it down. Okay, we all know how difficult it is, the ones who are really putting in the work. And for you, I mean, shout out to you for having the courage to actually work when you could just say, It's tough, it's hard, but yo, man, listen, this country, as we know, does not run for free.
I'm doing all these extra hours to I'm trying to build up a nest egg so that I can, let go one of these jobs, just so that I can spend more time with my family. Because the other part of that is that, and sometimes you get lost in it being a dad, that you're also a partner, or in your case, a husband. In my case, a soon to be husband. Finding the time to be that person that you've been to your partner, to your significant other, while also being a dad is also important, because it's not easy to be a good dad, but it's even harder to be a good dad and a good husband and a good partner, and you know what I'm saying, a good wife if you're a wife, but like sometimes you're so focused on the kid and what they want. Oh, what can I do for Coleman, what can I do for Arya, and all this stuff, and then you forget about Shane, you forget about Jasmine just for a second, and then it comes
Forget about
back.
yourself too.
Exactly. And like that's one of my common refrains that I'm always telling that everybody in my life, everybody I have love for, is you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's something that I really have taken to heart, especially over the last couple of years, is like just trying to find a way to fulfill myself, to make sure that I can pour from this cup and give to the people in my life that I love, whether it's financially, whether it's just being there personally, showing more love, showing more appreciation outwardly, because I can be kind of aloof, I can be kind of nonchalant about a lot of things. Um, that's just how I am, who I am. It doesn't mean that I don't care, but you also have to take time to study and to understand and interpret your partner's love language. I'm sure Jasmine will tell you, she's nice, or she might not say, but I'm sure she would, if she was being honest, she would tell you that I fall short sometimes. And that is something that I strive for now. Is I think I'm getting a groove in the dad thing. Now the part is like just trying to make sure that my woman feels the love that I have and the pride that I have in her, both as a mom and a partner, and also just as Jasmine, just the individual, because she's more than just a mom and more than just my fiance. She is her own person.
Talk about growth, my boy. I love
Saying,
it. I love it.
They're a different guy. It's the people that listen to this podcast from early on. When I wanted to, drink Rihanna's bathwater, that's like, yeah, this ain't the same.
So, whoa. So you've retired Rihanna's bathwater. Is that what we're saying?
ASAP opened up the doors. No, I did not. ASAP, shout out to you for fucking up, my boy. The floodgates is open,
bro. They had to pardon you to get out of jail. Like, they had to get you out of jail in another country. So it's like, you would think like, I'm good. I'm good on, and I love ASAP. Shout out to ASAP. Shout out to Harlem. You know what I'm saying? But it's not looking good for him. Not looking good for him. That case is
bro, his lawyer is like, are you serious? There's no way. Like, the world that we live in, man, it's crazy, because the last time we came to you, it was a Trump world. And we're coming to you again 5 years later, and you're not going to believe this, but it's a Trump world again. And
if you didn't know already, surprise.
Agent Orange is back in office. We did not get it done. We as a community failed Kamala.
Well, hold on there, pal. We as a community?
Not the Black community.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure which community we were talking about.
Literally as an American community, because like I'm including Republicans in this. Like, just because you like before in presidential elections, right? Republicans were the opposition, but they were never, at least in my opinion, the enemy. What Trump has brought to this is an adversarial role to the bipartisan system. In everything that he does, he sows the seeds of hatred. He sows the seeds of division, and in a lot of cases enables a lot of those people who have hate in their hearts, who have racist or prejudiced tendencies or beliefs, and kind of invigorates and puts a battery in their backs. And to have to go through another 4 years, what up, shit? Have to go through another 4 years of that is like, I just don't know. I just don't know how.
We can see you, Shannon.
I don't know how we're gonna deal with that, like as a community.
The double-edged sword of this second go round of Trump is that he's super incompetent. That incompetence may actually be our saving grace, but I think it's probably going to take plenty from us. We already saw he tried to shut down just the entire country by saying like, no federal payments. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that the federal government was in charge of Meals on Wheels, or my fire station needs a new fire truck. It's like, oh, that's federal funds. It's like, yeah.
It's crazy because so many people will fall over themselves to defend their decision to vote for him. Like, oh, well, I'm a career Republican and I just vote along the party lines and all this. It was like, use your fucking head. People just act like they don't see it, or that they don't hear, or that they don't understand what it means. And it's not the dummies or the low country people or the racists, the overt racists that you're mostly disappointed in, because they're racist. That's what they do, disappoint people. But it's the people that you're friends with. It's, oh, this is my white friend, and he's good guys, always treated me with respect. Like, I bet he voted for Trump. So like, there's a piece of all those people, and I'm speaking to some of my friends. I have friends that voted for Trump, and I want all of you to know, you're bitches. You have chosen to vote for someone who does not like people who look like me or the people that I care about. Point blank, period.
I feel like we have to end on this because the Grammys just happened. Talk about a freaking a year.
Drake's worst nightmare.
Year for a song.
This is Drake's worst nightmare. Worst nightmare, because it was the song of the summer, which is normally Drake's thing. So he had to be silent all summer when that's normally not what Drake does. Clearly took another L in a rap beef. And it just keeps getting worse. What is happening with They're Not Like Us? I've never seen. And I did, like, Ether and Takeover were great diss records. Shout out to Hope, shout out to Nas. But I don't believe either one of those songs won a Grammy. Like, this,
they didn't have Taylor Swift slightly on beat dancing to the song, screaming A minor.
Was she on beat, or was it like?
I mean, we got a grade on the curve, but
she tried. So like, how does Drake come back from this?
He does not. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm the short answer is he doesn't. I want to point out that at the same time that this was all happening, we should mention Not Like Us won 5 Grammy Awards.
5? I thought it was 3.
It won Song of the Year and Record of the Year, which are 2 of the like top tier awards. Also, shout out to Beyonce, who won Country Album of the Year and Album of the Year. Yeah, by the way, I think I don't love that she won Album of the Year for this album, because I feel like people are just going to look at it and be like, oh, she was due, and they're not going to give it as much respect. Renaissance should have won Album of the Year.
This was Denzel winning for Training Day.
Yeah. It's like we respect it, but like it should have been the other ones. Yeah. However, Kendrick won 5 Grammys, including Song of the Year and Record of the Year. So
one of 3 rappers with 20 now, I think.
Just an insane amount of Grammys.
Incredible.
Just completely making Drake look like an idiot for saying the words, Kendrick just opened his mouth, someone go get him a Grammy right now. Which I thought, even at the time, I was like, that's mad hatery.
He spoke it into existence. Kendrick is Kawhi Leonard in the respect that he's probably not gonna be all over social media, like saying anything about it or boasting his face or rubbing it in. But I would be really worried about what he's gonna do on that Super Bowl stage. I really would.
But you don't need to rub it in when they announce that you won, and they're playing the song in the background, and the entire crowd yells out A minor and holds it. That's the mic drop moment right there. You don't even have to do it. The work is done. Now it's just victory lapping. I mean, he's been victory lapping since, what was that, May, when the song came out?
I don't think anybody could have seen this coming, but shout out to DJ Mustard, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. I'm still a Drake fan. I still love his music. That doesn't change, but I can definitely admit when one of my favorite artists lost. Like, I don't lose anything by this. I'm not even from Canada. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm going to listen to most of their music still. And when Drake puts out another banger, because he will, I'm going to listen to that. I'm a consumer. I'm not the artist. For Drake, this is, like you said, this is a devastating blow. And then the lawsuit on top of that just makes it so much.
I mean, yeah, that's why I said he can't come back.
That's that other side.
No. Had it just been you lost the rap battle and like Kendrick had the better songs, it'd been fine. This lawsuit, to be honest, I made the joke to somebody yesterday. I said he's probably going to sue the Grammys after this because they played the song. Like, it's tough.
It's bad for Drake. I hope he bounces back. We've got a summer coming up, summer 2025. He needs to claim the summer back. That's what he needs to do. He needs another summer. Like, let the beef go. I don't need to hear nothing else about it. You lost. It's okay. He's going to have to come back. I'm not just going to jump back because the lawsuit is making me be like, you got to really come back with a banger. Like, I'm willing to forgive for the music. I've forgiven worse, but I can say that I'll never look at Drake the same way. Again, I can't wait to do this stuff again, brother. I really like this. This is what fuck the streets. This is what I have been missing. This is what I have, I have loved doing. I love sitting here chopping it up with you, brother. So it's, being able to get back on here with you on Wax has been phenomenal, man. I can't wait to do it again.
I think long overdue would be the understatement of the year.
The year, brother. The year.
So yeah, man. Shout out to you for being patient with me. Because if we're being honest, it's probably more my fault that we haven't been doing this as much as we could. Yeah. But we back, man.
We back here. One time before we sign off here, to the Howard University fans out there, don't think that we didn't see. I don't care if it's by an inch or a mile. Y'all got y'all last beat. We won. Howard University is still the other HU. We run y'all. That's just the way that it is.
They already know that.
We might have to change y'all name to Howard Institute. Like, I know y'all love to say my name to Howard Institute. Until you beat us in a sport that matters, like not no fucking backgammon or no shit. Beat us in basketball, beat us in football. Until y'all do that, you're Howard Institute.
Howard College. How about Howard College?
Ooh, Howard College, yeah.
Howard College. It's more, make it more local.
Shout out to my main man, Malik. Shout out to everybody that listens to us on the No Rules podcast. We thank you. We love you. And we will be back for y'all next week, man.
Peace.